This is the tutorial for the Easter tiered tray set. There are a lot of pieces to this set. So the first thing you want to do is organize by color. So I know some pieces have multiple colors, but you'll get to them. So if you're following the picture, I literally just took the picture that I taped to your box and just set it in front of you. And then, for instance, I have the mint and the truck, and my green and my tag, which I also want to do obviously the tops of the carrots, and I've got the purple up here, my orange, and so on. The first color that I recommend painting is white. The reason being is there are certain colors that I've given you. If you use the colors as they are, it's still going to turn out great. But if you want more of a soft pastel palette, then you're going to want to mix white with some of them. For instance, I sent a darker gray, and I'm going to paint the wheels on my truck the darker gray, but then I'm going to go ahead and mix white with it so that it's a softer gray for the others. And that's a really good way to add dimension to your projects. And make sure it matches. So just paint the base color, and then if you add a little bit of white, it's going to match. It's just going to be varying shades of the same color. So I like to paint the bigger pieces first. So you're going to get your foam brush, and let's bring the white over here and dip it in. Keep your brush angled, start in the middle, and slowly sweep it out. This way you can keep clean edges. My daughter helped me with my tags tutorial, and it was fun to have her with me. She wanted to help with this one, but she's going to work today, and so I can't wait that long. But my kids generally are not into crafts. They like to start them and then never finish them. They don't have the patience. So when she saw these pieces though, she was really excited and she wanted to do some. So I'll have to cut her a set later and have her paint them. Another piece of advice, don't do what I'm doing right now, as in I'm trying to get it all into the video so you can see it, but I would spread your pieces out farther. Get a bigger workspace, just in case you happen to drip. You wouldn't want to drip it down on your blank pieces or your colored pieces. So, okay. So that was a really light coat, and you can kind of see how it's drying unevenly a little bit. I'm probably going to do 2 coats of that. So I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm going to end up doing all of these, but I'm going to show you how to do smaller pieces as well. Then I'm going to press pause and finish painting so you don't have to watch the whole thing. So let's do the purple on this egg. You're going to take your wedge. Let me move some of my pieces out. You're going to dip the wedge. If you've already seen my painting tutorials, go ahead and skip this part, but dip the wedge, just the edge of it, in the purple. Dab off the excess and just use the edge of the wedge to paint that egg. And just go really soft once you get to the edge. And if you happen to get, if you're doing really light coats, you're not going to have anything inside the etched lines. But if you did get paint inside the stripes, just take a toothpick, and while the paint is still wet, and run it through the lines, and that will take out all of the paint. But if you're doing really light coats, like I say, that's not going to be an issue. Once it's dry, which should go really fast actually, I just hit it one more time, and then that egg, I don't know if you can see, is done. So that's the technique you're going to use on all of the small pieces. Use a fresh wedge for each color and then move on. So I'm going to paint all of my base colors, and then I will come back on when it's time to mix white in, so you can see how that works. Okay, I've got most of my pieces painted, so I'm going to go ahead and do my orange. My orange and my gray are the two colors that I want to mix with white to get more of a custom color. So as far as the gray, I did the tire rims and the little truck grate. I did that in the original. Sorry, I'm grabbing a baby wipe because I see how dirty my hands are. I did those the original dark gray color. So let's start with the orange. I couldn't find a pastel orange color that I liked. That was actually in stock, I should say. They were either too dark or too yellowy or just a different color. So I just got this one because I felt like it was a pretty good base. So I'm going to take my toothpick and I'm going to put, I mean, you don't need that much, but I'm just going to put a glob of it onto my paper plate. Then I'm going to use the foam brush that I used with my white, and I'm going to, can you see that? Is my hand in the way? I'm going to go ahead and put some of that in there, not using all of it because I mainly want it for the gray. Then I'm going to very scientifically mix it using my toothpick. Or what I generally do, honestly, is I just use plastic knives, because if we use plastic forks or spoons or whatever, who uses the plastic knives? So that I actually save them all for my mixing. That's my gray wedge. I don't think I gave myself enough wedges. I'll just use this one. It was my white one. I'll use the other side, this one. Okay, so I just like this color more. It doesn't seem so bold, and it looks a lot better next to that green. So mix and match however you can customize it to the look that you're going for. If you like the bolder color, like I say, these colors are going to look great together anyways, like as is. So don't feel like you have to mix and match. I just wanted to show you different options so that if you wanted to get other colors, and you can also, like, it just expands the range as well. Because like I say, now I'm going to have a few different shades of gray, so it's not just so it's not one dimensional, but I think you all know what I'm trying to say. That's also how you would do an ombre. I didn't do the tutorial, but when I did the shiplap sign, the lucky insert, with the interchangeable inserts, I had decided to do an ombre color. And if you want to do that, basically you would paint the dark color and then just add a little bit of white and start painting a little bit stripes up, add a little bit more white, paint some stripes up, and so you just kind of customize it. So that's kind of fun. I was thinking about doing an ombre on the truck, but I want to be able to post this tutorial soon. Got a little bit carried away, so I'm just gonna use my toothpick to get that out. Okay, so I really like that softer orange color versus, it's probably not going to come across well. You can't ever see like true lighting in, I feel like you can never see true lighting over the camera. Okay, or true colors, I should say. Okay, as far as the, I need need to do one of my eggs orange. Good thing you saw that. So as far as the gray, I think I'm going to do different gradients as well, meaning I'm going to add a little bit of white for one thing, and then maybe add a little bit more for another thing, and so on, just so that it's kind of interesting. Same thing, I'm going to, I probably could just dump all the gray because it's the white that I want to add. I'm going to save some just in case I change my mind. Okay. Am I even on camera? I should make sure. So since I make sure that you've colored everything that you want to color, ooh, I'm going to go back and color my flowers. So then I can use this knife because I'm not going to be using the white for anything else. So make sure you're done before you do that. I'm just going to add a third of my gray, or a third of my white to my gray. And then I'll go back and add more. So I'm going to push pause. I'm going to go back and paint all the rest of my stuff, and then we'll get back together when it's time to put everything together. Okay, once you have everything painted, you're going to get your super glue out. When you very first tighten the lid to activate it, make sure that you do that like over a plate and open it to make sure there's no pressure that's going to come out and squirt all over your project. So, actually, let's save that one. Somehow I lost a little bunny tail. My dog's going to come and say hi. Come on, Miss. Come on. Be brave. Come on. Always. I should have known she'd want him. Okay, so obviously with these little bunnies, you just follow the silhouette, and a little super glue goes a long way. So try to stay as far away from the edges as you can. I press the tip so it's actually touching the wood, and just do like a quick little line. And then I press down for just a second and then move on. Apparently I didn't learn my lesson from last night's video, and I got kicked out because I needed to clear some storage space, but I didn't see that until I had already glued almost everything. I should have looked up. So just watch, or just check the picture. You're gonna glue one carrot into the middle of here, glue the bunny onto this tag. When you do the truck, then the wheels, then the egg, then the grate, and I am on the hip hop now. Sorry about that. So since this is so small, I'm just gonna, you don't need to like glue every single tiny piece. Like you saw me just do like line, 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 line. And that's plenty of glue. I pretty much just use the leftover that's on the tip of the glue. Okay, as far as this little dot, that's where you're gonna wanna use your tweezers. So if you can see this wet part that was spilling out of my glue, if you have your paper plate, you can put it on there, but I'm gonna go ahead and grab, oops, I almost lost it. Grab my dot with my tweezer, because if you try to put glue on this little piece, you're going to glue your fingers together. So squirt a little glue out onto your paper plate, unless you already have some that has spilled out. And then I'm going to literally dab it into the glue, dab the excess off onto the plate, and do it quick or you're gonna glue the eye down, and then place it down. And that's it. And then you have your hip hop truck. Okay, so if you have any questions on how to glue everything, let me know, since my video quit and I'm not quite sure when it stopped. Okay, let's do, if you get your twine. So with the carrots, obviously they're glued together, but just for some decoration, I'm going to keep some of the twine hanging down so that I can use that, if you can see, so I can use that to tie. And then I'm just going to go around a few times, no rhyme or reason. And then at the very front, I'm just going to go ahead and tie a knot. And then I don't have any scissors right in front of me, but obviously I will trim these to be even, but then your carrots are done. And then to string the beads, there are two things you can do. If your twine isn't frayed, you can just go ahead and start stringing. You can put tape around it if that makes it easier, or same thing, if you dip it into the super glue like that has fallen out, make sure you completely let that dry. It's going to harden the twine, and that's going to be a little bit easier to go through. So now I need to let that dry. Make sure that you're not touching it to anything or gluing it down onto anything. So as my beads are rolling away, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap the ends of this around a few times just to kind of give it a chunkier, oops, a little too much, but that's okay. Give it a chunkier look to it. And then I'm going to tie it off onto the back. And then by wrapping it in on itself, or you can just tie a knot, whatever you want. And then I will cut that. Mine is not quite dry yet. I wonder if I can start stringing. I'm going to try. Okay. I'm like, I might heavily regret this, but, and then I just start stringing the beads down. Oh, you know what? I forgot. Sorry about that. I'm going to tie it into a knot right here first. Right on the top so that the beads have somewhere to land. There we go. Okay. This might be better for me. Oh, it's still not quite dry. I guess I could just push pause. Or I could just get super glue all over my fingers. That is an option as well. So, I don't know if you've seen these beaded tassels. This one, I'm just going to have you tie off. Sorry, as I'm talking, I'm looking around for my beads. They went rolling down the table. I think I just have 6. So this one, I'm just going to have you tie off. But I think in future tiered trays, I'm going to include like a garland or a tassel or something like that to give it a bit of variety. But if you have extra twine, one knot is going to be just fine because these are smaller beads. If you have extra twine, you can make a little tassel, and that's going to be super cute. I just had mine sitting on my tray, so this was kind of going towards the back. That's how it fit on my tray, and so you couldn't see it anyways. So that's what I just plan on doing for mine. So that is how you put together your tiered tray kit. You should have all of these pieces, plus that bunny tail, this one, and then your Happy Easter. Oh, yes, I also included 2 mini stands. So a lot of people just lean things onto their tier tray, but there are so many different kinds of tier trays out there. I wanted to make sure that you had stands just in case maybe the top of your tier didn't have anything and so you needed the stands. So you can paint them a neutral color so that if you get other tiered tray kits, you can continue to use them, or you can paint them one of the leftover springy colors, or just leave them unpainted because you're probably not going to be able to see it over the tier. So whatever you choose to do, please let me know if you have any questions, if the video cut out somewhere so it's not clear. Also, one more thing, because I saw a little bit of paint spill over, I did send some sandpaper with you, and you can sand the edges to get that paint off if you have a little bit of spillover, or distress it, or just to smooth your painting out. So please post pictures when you're done so I can see everyone's finished pieces, and I hope you enjoy.